All right, welcome back everyone to the Get the Net podcast. We got a multiple Stanley Cup champion. He just fished his first 3 Bassmaster Opens this year. He's been through a lot. He's got a lot of good stories and some good insight. We're going to get into that shortly. Stick around. We'll see you on the other side of the intro. Welcome to Get the Net, a fishing podcast that takes a deep dive into competitive events, fishing news, tips, tactics, and most importantly, interviews with some of the most interesting and in-tune anglers from Canada to the central U.S. We're leaving no stone unturned to bring you the most raw and authentic dock talk. My name is Jamie Bruce. While my resume says bass, my frying pan says walleye. I'm no stranger to the multi-species realm. Whether you're puttering on tackle, driving the bus, cutting the grass, or killing time in a 9 to 5, we'll try to give you something in every episode to take with you on the water, or at the very least, bring you a few laughs. All right, welcome back to the Get the Net Fishing Podcast. Jamie Bruce here, chatting, fishing, hockey, life, whatever else comes across the pipe tonight. Thanks everyone for swinging by. Sitting in a damn Michelin coat here in the garage. It's freezing cold outside. Got the big Sims all loaded up. Yeah, cold. Just flicked the heat on when I came in, but when I'm podcasting, I can't run both. I want to bring you that primo audio quality. We can't have that with the Mr. Heater barking. But freezing in the corner is a small sacrifice to make. So is subscribing. So if you don't mind, slide her on down, hit the subscribe button, keep everything rolling. If you already subscribed, drop a like. And in the comments, it's tough to find guests. It's not tough to find them, but it's tough to find guests that I find interesting and you guys find interesting. So if you have an idea, drop him or her in the comments and we'll see if we can line her up. I'd be curious to see who you want to hear from, but we got a few good ones lined up and it's been pretty good rolling on the weekly thing. We're keeping her together, keeping her on a schedule here, but yeah, it's ice fishing time now. I mentioned it's cold. I snuck out on Saturday. I sat in the deer blind most of the day. Not sure why I suck at deer hunting. It's just kind of one of those things. It's a new challenge and, something I'm just trying to learn about. I don't actually really care that much about killing one. I do like eating them, but I just kind of want, another thing I want to learn. So I had about enough of that around 2:00 and went and did some ice fishing on a little trout lake. There's a video up now on the lube tubes. If you haven't checked that out, we played around with the perspective mode. Haven't seen any videos of that ice fishing before, and there was some pretty cool things that came out of it. The Randys of the world won't be real happy with it because it's just adding more technology, but I don't think you'd catch any more with it. It's just pretty damn cool to look at. But anyway, yeah, that's up on the LubeTube channel. What else we got going on? Bass fishing news. I feel like that's really getting played out now. There hasn't been any juicy new information in the last couple weeks or so. Milliken had a good video about kind of industry breakdown that was super entertaining. So that kicked everyone on LubeTube into high gear. But other than that, there's nothing really crazy going on. No real change. We're just kind of waiting for everything to kick off down in the south. Bassmaster Opens start in January, late January, early February, something like that. Barramundi news, Gussie and Bryan are down in Australia. Got some minor updates from them. Gussie said they were losing about 5-1 for everyone that they hooked. They lost 5 of them. So they were getting on the board. They might have got into the prizers once or twice. I don't think they've had a banger yet, but there's still time. Mind you, they're just showing up to a different country, trying to compete against all the Barra boys. Tommy Wood's down there. He's going to hop on the podcast. I listened to Adam Greentree on Joe Rogan the other day, and I was just like, damn, Australians sound so cool. Just the way they talk is hilarious. I miss the Aussies, and we're gonna drum him up. Maybe we'll have him and all the boys on. We'll tear open a case on this end and do some chirping to Tommy. So look for that to be showing up. Reminder here, now that she's ice fishing time, check out the Strike Master ice augers. I hauled the little 24 volt into this little backcountry lake. It was the lightest thing of everything I hauled. I had my big damn live scope and all that stuff, but Definitely sweet for this time of year and all times of year. Check those out at Lake of the Woods Sports. Also the 40 volt Pro, all kinds of selections. There's some pretty good deals on them right now with extra batteries and whatnot. And if you're looking for an ice fishing destination this year, check out Wabigoon Chain in Dryden, Ontario, or anywhere in that area. It's pretty damn cool. It's untouched. Around here now, ice fishing's getting real busy. There's I saw lots of pictures from the weekend. First ice, I kind of just used to have it to myself. Don't ask me why the heaviest damn guy in the district goes to try first ice all the time, but it's just something we do. And I definitely wasn't the only person out on Saturday. There was a damn crew out there, so just kind of all over the place. There was no one on the lake I went to, but heard plenty of reports, plenty of a zoo. So if you want to get away from that, slide her down to Dryden and check out the lakes around there. Lots of great places to stay. And don't forget about the tagged fish contest. And if you're looking for a destination for next year, check out Nordic Point Lodge, muskie fishing, hunting, walleyes, unreal bass fishing. Real cool place, not super far north, just far enough north where it feels like you're in the middle of nowhere with all the comforts of home. Check that out in the description below. And what else we got here? Powerhouse batteries. Had a lot of questions about the 18 amp 16 volt battery. Works out to about the equivalent of a 22.5 amp battery. I've been running it with my Garmin 8612. Obviously I haven't gone long enough to know how long it's going to last, but I hooked it up, did a kind of a bit of a generalized test with general brightness settings around 75%, and I think it's going to last like around 9 hours in my big unit. So if you got a 9 or 10 inch Garmin live scope, that 18 amp will be good to go, and you get all the power, the clean power, the 16 volts. So check those out at Lake of the Woods Sports and powerhouselithium.com. And you'll see in the mint little ad here prepared by Marcel Lafayette. That guy's damn good with a camera. We went and did some whacking on Lake Winnipeg last year. I caught my biggest walleye through the ice ever on the new 38-inch medium Wicked Pro. There's also a 38-inch medium light. Put that one to work on the spec front. And yeah, they're great rods made for the north. Check those out at Lake of the Woods Sports and rapala.ca. And I'll stop bugging you. We got Bickell on the other side of these ads, and we'll see you in there. BT Fishing is a northern-born, small-town tackle brand. Focusing on innovating rather than imitating, BT has left a mark on all levels of competitive fishing, from walleye tournaments all the way to the Bassmaster Classic. The full BT lineup is comprised of innovative tackle, carefully crafted using the highest quality components. Check out the Smeltinator jig, Elite Marabou jig, Crusher jig, Clack Shot, Clean jig, Smeltinator underspin and more at sportsheadquarters.ca. We ship across Canada and the US. Use promo code GETTHENET for 10% off all products in the BT lineup. First met you at the Watts Bar Bassmaster Open this year, the worst lake in the country as far as I'm concerned. Heard someone barking at me from the distance, turn over, and all I see is a freaking set of white teeth staring at me like I was at damn glow bowling. They were just lit up.
Yeah, they do glow a little bit, especially in that light. Well, all my front teeth is all fake, right, from hockey, and I had a bridge put in after I was hockey, and then it didn't really work out. It broke again. So then I got a local dentist up here to finish me up. And we did go a little extremely white, but the wife likes it, so I don't get to look at it myself all the time. She likes it. That's what keeps her happy. So we went with a little extra white this time.
Yeah, you get down in the south, and I mean, the whole field's ripping grizzly dip and 20-ounce Javas all day, and it's a weird sight to see the teeth just glowing. He gave me like the Hollywood starter kit.
Yeah, people always look at me like, "Whoa, your teeth are nice." I'm like, "Well, yeah, I've missed in the top 4, so it's nice to get something in there that actually looks good."
Yeah, man.
No more hockey days, no more hockey smiles. So
Yeah, there's no more risk of them getting knocked out, really, hey, unless your big piece of tungsten comes flying at you.
Well, I still play the men's league pickup, and it's a competitive league, but I try to avoid those kind of situations. I'm not going head first into any pucks or blocking any shots, so I'm doing the Olay and moving out of the way.
Are you one of those guys that goes hard in men's league?
I like to go, decently hard. The team picks me for a reason because, I used to play hockey and I should be good at what I do. But, it's just all the exercise and hanging out with the boys and have a couple pops after the game. It kind of, you miss the hockey life. And, that's the only way I was in shape. I don't work out anymore. I just fish and run after my kids and bring them to their events. And, if I get a day here and there to go out on the ice, that's what kind of keeps me in shape and kind of keeps me get the beer sweat out.
Yeah, mint. I know some guys you said it's more competitive. It's not straight beer league.
Yeah, well, we had the first game last night, actually, because our local rink went under a bunch of construction. We have a rookie game. We have a draft. There's not many beer league has a rookie game, then you do drafts. So it's a competitive league. I'm 30, I'm 37, and I'm like an old guy in the league. So it's a younger lead, but it keeps me, fresh and keeps me. I have fun. It's the competitive thing too that I enjoy and what I missed from playing back in the day. But I enjoyed it. I'm not getting hurt yet, which is good. No one's really wanted to challenge. There's fights in the league once in a while, so no one's wanted to drop the gloves yet. But I've had some heated moments, and they know better.
No one wants to take a swing at you just to say they did. I feel like that.
No. Most of them are guys I know from growing up, and there's some younger guys. There's some hotheads here and there, but I got enough sticks I can break over them if they come near me and stuff like that. So no, for the 3 or 4 years I've been playing, there has been no incidents or anything like that. But we're all out there for a good time, and it's competitive, but it's also fun at the same time.
Yeah, man. I know Richie plays beer league here, and I think I'm pretty sure he just plays in net the whole time.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He just he retired and just turned into a goalie.
That's I can't imagine being a goalie. They're definitely a different person to begin with. The stay in front of net and block shots. I'm like, no, I rather score goals than keep them out of my net. And I wasn't a very good defensive, but that's something that I would never want to think of doing.
Yeah, I don't know what the thought process is there. We're gonna have him on probably in a couple weeks here.
Oh, good, yeah. I'm excited
see what the hell he's thinking.
No doubt. No doubt.
So I mean, you, Richie, and Buff are kind of the three fishing guys that that I'm familiar with that go hard on the bass fishing front. So you've all done fishing podcasts now, and everyone's heard the obvious comparisons and everything there, but you're the only one so far that's taken it to the next level. Ponying up for the Bassmaster Opens. What are you doing?
Yeah, well, there's the local tournaments and things like that, and it's always fun. But I like the experience and travel, and the weekend tournaments, the 2-day tournaments, and things like that. You can free fish and things like that. It's just the same thing over and over again. But I wouldn't mind getting out of the house and traveling for a week or two and things like that, and trying to break down a lake that I've never been on. Like the first one was up in Bugs Island in Virginia.
Yeah.
And it was an interesting experience, but the weather came in and things like that. I was on something good. And then I was like, all my water got muddied up, and I was like, oh, what do I do? So I just went and practiced and caught fish that way. Finished okay, middle of the pack, which was, okay for my first bass event. But then I was really looking forward to St. Lawrence. Obviously, it's only a couple hours from here, and had some trailer problems. The day 2 of practice, my axle blew up on my trailer, so I couldn't really transport my boat where I wanted to go down at the mouth of the river, and which kind of really sucked. And I just so happened I had fish to do really well, and they didn't want to stay on it, which is really hard to think when you make that long run. Got to get gas and time consuming, but it is what it is. It wasn't meant to be. Then obviously we ran into each other during the Watts, and the Watts was a fun experience. A cool lake, a lake that's going to be, I think, good down the road. The slot limit really hurted everyone. I know for you and for myself, we didn't catch a limit in the first day. And I scavenged a limit in day 2, and I remember seeing you in my starting spot, and then you blew past me and went in the back bay and fished. I'm like, there's fish. I wanted to yell at you and say, like, there's keepers out here. You just got to get them to bite. The day 2, I almost caught 12 and missed a couple big ones, and it was fun. My co-angler caught a 19-inch smallmouth. I knew there was a big smallmouth in there too, and he did well, and I was happy for him. I wasn't really, going for anything. I was just trying to get a limit, but I was going to yell at you to come over here to try to catch some so you can get some keepers. But
you should have.
I
gladly would have taken the charity at that point, man.
Yeah, you were on, hit here, hit there. You were kind of running fast, and I kind of stayed put in that area and kind of grinded out. It was a mixed bag of smallies, spots, and largies, but it was a fun experience. I got Dreg buffing to next year, and on the social media, the TSNs posting about Buffs being a pro, and now all those northern swings are coming, which is good for him because it's local for him. And then I dragged him in. Let's do it together. And then I looked at the schedule, and 2 of the tournaments are on my kid's birthday. So I asked the kids, I'm like, hey, do you mind if I go fish these tournaments for a couple of weeks? And they're like, on your birthday? And I didn't really like it. So I was like, shoot, what do I do? And the wife obviously agrees with the kids. So I think I got to take off this year. Maybe I'll hop in one here, one there. But it just so happened I was like looking forward to this because it's all, lacrosse and the northern lakes, and it just so happened it didn't work out this year. And I'm sure there's going to be lots of time down the road we can get going and back on the round. I enjoyed it. It's the chance too, if you did one and you do well and you could win. You want to go to the Classic, and if you hop in one and you win, you don't get to go to the Classic. So to do the 3, it's important, but you never know. You might get on something that's out there that no one else sees, and I enjoyed it, and I had a good time doing it.
Nice. Hey, I'm gonna get you to ditch those headphones.
Ditch them? Not working?
They're just picking up a lot of just like movement? Scratching around a lot. Yeah. Try getting rid of them.
How's that?
That's better.
Okay.
So you're tapping out. Buff's tapping in. Big announcement. I didn't know TSN was pushing it. He must have thought. Did he think you were going when he signed up?
Well, I kind of dragged him into it.
Yeah. You told me. You're like, tell him. Or you told me to feed him some chirps, so I did. I was like, yeah. Bickell said you're a little bitch for not fishing.
I know. Well, I'm like, how many tournaments do you do a year? He's like, I probably do like 12. I'm like, 12 tournaments. So I'm like, man, you got lots of time to do these. Just cut out a couple, like 4 or 5 tournaments, and they're all local to him. They're not like driving 14 hours to go where you need to go, and he did it. He texted me. He's like, I'm in. I'm like, shit. Like I told him, like, well, the birthdays are kind of important. The kids are young. They're going to be 10 and 8 now. So it's just you want to keep your family happy in the same way. And I do enough fishing to begin with, and hopefully he enjoys it. Then come next year, we'll meet up again. It'll be kind of cool traveling with him and, staying together and catch up because, obviously we played against each other, and, he's really competitive into fishing, kind of like I am. And it'd be cool to, get a story and have fun with it too.
Yeah. Yeah. No kidding. It's funny that both of you guys are like, have done it now. Cause like when I asked, what are you doing in the opens? I didn't mean like you're out of place. I just meant like, what are you doing? Cause they go to pretty terrible lakes and then you throw 225 boats on it, where you can go fish kind of wherever you want. But I mean, the answers I got from you, and it kind of just seems like you're looking to expand your craft a little bit, like going pretty hard at it. It seems like you understand that that's what you have to do to like kick her up to the next level.
Yeah, it's like anything in life and in sports. If you put your mind to it and and you can accomplish a lot of things. And when I played, we had the summers off. We had to train. If I wasn't training, I was probably on the water. And that's my my peace of mind. Like with the grind of the seasons and the travel and all that stuff, I just enjoy fishing. A lot of people enjoyed golf, and some guys enjoyed fishing with Buff and Falker actually. That's just something that it just gave me peace of mind and got me ready for the next season. And then I kind of got better and better, and I got, enjoyed it more and more. And now I'm retired, and now it's 6 years out, and I'm like, what do I do? I don't really know really much else to do. I'm very fortunate that my career went the way it did. So, my family's stable through the upcoming years. I don't have to go back to work, but just to enjoy the time with the kids right now when they're young, because there's gonna be a time where they don't want to hang out with you and they just want to be with their friends and things like that. But fishing's always gonna be there. I'm gonna always put my mind to it, and I want to make that next step. And I think it's too early right now with the kids being as busy as they are, and to do all nine. It's obviously it's a grind, and it's the time away at home and things like that. And I'm sure there will be a time where the wife will give me the green light to do it. But right now, I wouldn't mind just doing 3 here, 3 there. And it was only a couple weeks every other month last year. So well, I'm gonna make her happy, and hopefully come next year we'll do it again.
Yeah, I think this schedule this year is kind of a one-off with those couple in Minnesota. So I mean that's pretty big increase in travel on your end. Like that's probably 15 hours to Leech Lake or something.
Yeah, I think it's like 12. I think I looked it up. And you're obviously probably 10 hours closer, so it's and Buff's right there, so I'm excited for him, and I know he knows those lakes and lacrosse, and I don't think he knows much about St. Clair, but I'm excited. I hope he does. He has fun and does well, so I can drag him out the next year if I can convince my wife to do it again.
Yeah, I've fished a couple tournaments with Buff, and he's a keen learner. Like he's not just there to like kick back and float around in the back of the boat. He's a freaking good co-angler, because you show him a technique or tell him what he needs to do, he'll like put the work in to make sure he figures it out. You can tell, like, I'm sure you're the same way, but like someone from a competitive background, like you're always looking for an edge and like practicing things. So it's a little bit easier to roll with. And now I haven't fished with him in 2 years, I think. I couldn't do any of the fall tournaments last year because of the Opens, but my buddy Brian Gustafson fished a big 3-day tournament with Buff, and he's like, you wouldn't believe how good he is at skipping a jig now.
Yeah,
like because he's just like, okay, this is a weak part of my game, and then just puts the work into it just from having that hockey background. So I think he's improving at like a rapid rate. So I'm hoping he does well too.
Yeah, and he's busy at home too. He's got 3 kids, and but he still fishes and hunts a lot. So I'm like, he's got time, and he's got the support from Emily to do that. And I hope he has fun and enjoys it, because it'll be good to catch up and tell the stories of the hockey days, and and really work together fishing too. So it'll be a fun experience, because obviously him, he's a pretty laid back guy, and he likes to have fun. He jokes around, and it'd be entertaining for sure to have him in an Airbnb or somewhere that we could stay together to catch up, because I'm still pretty sure that in the NHL when we played, I was the only guy that ever hit him and actually got him really pissed off, because I still remember the day, and we were in Chicago, and he was looking back, and I just laid him out, and that was probably the hardest he's ever been hit, and I can throw that against him.
Yeah, I watched that. He had his head back.
Yeah, he was not happy.
I guess not. In Winnipeg too.
I was in Chicago, actually.
Was it?
Yeah, I was in Chicago. I remember that.
Okay.
I remember the play, because I almost had a breakaway, and then I'm like gassed, and I'm back checking, and then Buff's going down the ice, and then he bumbled it, and he was trying to catch it with his hand. And I'm like, oh boy, this is not going to go good. And then I laid him out, and then we had a huge scrum, and we got the power play out, which was good. So I don't know if we scored, but it was pretty funny.
Did that hurt you as much as it looked like it hurt him when you cracked him?
No, not as much. I'm a bigger guy. I'm not buff standard size, but he was not expecting it. I think that was the big thing. If he saw me coming, it would have probably hurt more. But you can just go on the YouTube and see the stuff that he's done, and ragdolling guys 2 at a time, just crunching guys. Like he's a lethal power forward and power defense when he played, and it was fun to watch because he was light on the ice, and I don't know how a big guy can skate the way he did. And, he had an unbelievable career, and obviously the run in 2010, he was a big force, and obviously he left after that, and then I kind of took his place and with the Hawks, so he had a good career for sure.
Yeah, I actually one of the first times I met him, he was at KBI. It's the big derby up here, big 3-dayer. We were crushing beers after the third day. It's a big party. And he had been over at the house the day before. So we knew each other plenty, and we got into the beers and just kind of started pushing each other a little bit, just messing around. He comes up and slaps me on the back real hard and kicks me forward. So we actually ended up linking up, teeing up for a frickin' grizzly bear wrestling match. And he was still playing then. I was way outgunned. I was like, okay, kind of going through the mental process, and it was like, all right, I have 0.5% chance of winning this. So there's 2 things are going to happen. He had just signed a huge contract with Winnipeg. I was like, there's 2 things that could happen. On the way off chance that I win this, I could ruin a $50 million contract or whatever the hell it was. And then most likely I'm just going to get ragdolled in front of all my buddies anyway. So there's some disengage there, but
yeah,
I watched that hit the other day. It was frickin'. He's going to be pissed that we brought it up on here. He's definitely.
Yeah, I knew I had to bring it up because.
Yeah, I knew
that was the only really tussle we really had, and he didn't get a hold of me because there's 8 other guys on top of me, but we didn't really clash that much when we played, which was good for my behalf because I would be more sore than I am now. But buff is buff, and I can't imagine if you did hurt him, how many buddies are going to be really happy with you, because you're obviously mostly Winnipeg fans out there, and he was a big force for the Peg when he was there, and yeah, but he's the animal, and he's big buff for a reason.
Okay, so we're talking physical now. You went through 3 opens. You hear it all the time how grueling it is, fishing 5 days dark to dark, and then the tournament. Did you was that a cakewalk for you after the hockey thing, or was it did you still feel that? Because I'm sure it's a different kind of tired, but it's definitely something that's there.
Yeah, I've fished days and days in a row. Fun fishing, 3 or 4 days. I remember my first one in Virginia at the Bugs. And I remember 3 days, I travel 14 hours. Then the first day of practice, I'm out there, and I'm like, okay, I'm excited. The day 2, I'm excited. Day 3, then I was like, holy jeez, this is getting kind of tiring. Then there was that big storm came in, and so I was like, whoa. I was kind of happy that big storm came through, because then it kind of gave me a half day to kind of regroup mentally too, because I was like, this is tough. And then mentally, it was the big part. It was a grind, the travel, the drive, the being tired and standing, and with the weather, it was like, oh, this is it. But then I kind of got over it, and St. Lawrence was pretty good. Obviously the trailer incident kind of really bit me in the butt, but it kind of got me mentally ready for that one, for fishing 7 days in a row. It's a grind. Obviously, it was a local tournament for me, so I didn't have to travel very far. But overall, the mental part of it was tough. But that big experience in Bugs Island got me ready for, the upcoming events if I do more, because it's mentally, it's a lot tougher than you think. Physically, I think with being an ex-athlete and still kind of have that drive, I think it kind of pushes you. Exhaustion, I think when you need your rest, and mentally is a big part of it too.
Yeah. I found it really hard to like define that line. Cause especially when you're like a Canadian or, you're a Canadian and a Stanley Cup champion, you got extra eyes on you. And in practice for the first few, I was like dark to dark, every day, every waking minute on the water, looking at when the sun rises, being at the boat ramp, unhooked, put it in the water the second, you can be out there. And it's just like, as the season ticked on, it was, because I felt like if I was on the trailer and there was a little bit of time where I could be learning, that someone else would be learning.
Mm-hmm.
And that like extra drive from the extra eyes on you kind of probably pushed it a little too far a couple times. And then, it's just like when you start to dark, like at the St. Lawrence, we're fishing down by Clayton. I was staying up in Ogdensburg or whatever. So it was like if you fish dark to dark, you were getting home at like 11 o'clock and you had to wake up get home at 11, plug all your shit in, eat some form of food, and then be back wheels up at like 4:30 in the morning. I'm like, I cut her off a little there because I was like, there's got to be a line here, but it does take a few to like define that. I feel like.
Yeah, and I think I didn't stay out dark to dark. There's no way I was going to do that. Like it's, for me, it was an experience and just to be out on the water. Like I don't want to burn myself out. If I can't find something from 7:30 to 5:30, then, I'm going to be struggling. But, you can kind of piece the puzzles together. And, I could have graphed around a little bit more and did those kind of things to find more stuff. But like mentally and physically, you need to rest. Like you can't run off 4 hours and barely eat and expect come tournament day you to be dialed in and ready to go. I think a big thing, even when I played, is I remember Quinville, our old coach. He's like, because he was always gave us a lot of days off. If you work hard, you get your days off. As he always said, rest is a weapon, and if you get your rest and come when you're going to be on the ice, you're going to be better. And I kind of took that into play too, because you start thinking about more things and you kind of start backstepping, and I think rest is a big thing.
Yeah, I got a lot to learn there because it's like the one tournament I didn't have any rest was actually the morning I saw them frickin' pearly whites looking back at me. I didn't sleep at all that night. I ate some chicken wings at a gas station just because I got off the water, had didn't bring a lunch because it was the last day, starving, just wheeled in. It was called a Crystal, ran some chicken wings there and got food poisoning and didn't sleep a wink. And then I don't think that it was an accident that I didn't, just made bad decisions. Like I look back on that day and I'm like, why would you do this? Why would you do that? Or like you said, you saw me that day running around like a freaking idiot. I'm like, okay, well, your brain obviously, fishing is, I think, like 85% mental probably. And if your brain's not rested up, then you're just going to do dumb shit. And I look at the same thing for like food. Like I know lots of guys don't eat anything in tournament days. I can't do that because I just can't. You see people make rash decisions when they're hungry, see like emotional swings when they're hungry. It's like, how am I supposed to, if it's an 85% mental game, how am I supposed to make decisions that impact it, based on internal factors like hunger and sleep and everything like that?
Oh, for sure. Your body's the running engine. If it's not running at 100, you're going to make mistakes and mental mistakes. And, it's like in hockey too. Like, hockey's a physical sport. You get yourself ready for the season, and mentally, if you're not there, you're not going to get that body doing what it needs to do.
Yeah. You guys are already smart on that stuff. Fishermen are pretty dumb. And another thing with fishing too, it's like for years and years and years, you could just be like morbidly obese and top of your game, And now it's like you see the guys at the top, and most of them are in shape. Like there's very few that are, and the guys that weren't in shape are getting in shape. It's
Yeah,
just
they're
like
starting
that,
to realize.
like that level up.
Yeah, they're starting to realize, like, well, if I feel better physically, and it's going to help my mental game, and it's not going to give me second guesses. Oh, my back's sore, or my shoulder's sore, or my elbow. And if you're more physically ready, it is tough to sit on a boat with sun, rain, and whatever it comes at you for hours. You know, I'm not saying there's a lot of physical behind it, but there is a lot of physical behind it.
Yeah. Especially now, like with staring at the live scope all the time.
Yeah.
Like that.
Your neck.
Yeah. And everyone jokes about it now, and you see the memes and everything, but like that is a legit concern for me anyway. Like, especially while you're tall too. Like, you know, you get up 6.5 feet away from your damn graph, and you're like, it's the angles just aren't there. Bass boat or like boats aren't ergonomically set up for, you know, a specific height, and it's just like,
well, you had a pretty good setup.
Factor.
It was like 4 feet off your deck. You could, you know.
That's why I got it, because I went years just staring at my feet, and like I have to do this thing like a 12-minute stretch. Everyone makes fun of me at the house because it looks like I'm like, oh, there is a little bit of meditation there too, but it's like it just looks like I'm, you know, should be standing on a sidewalk on like a harbor front doing this. It's pretty much yoga is what it is. And if I don't do that every day, then I'm just like get twisted out of whack. But like the boys will walk by and like chirp me and give me a shot in the stomach when I'm full stretch. I'm like, I can't do this without that, you know, especially pushing it too for 10 or 12 hours a day.
Oh yeah. Well, it's a weapon. You got to keep it limbo to get whatever it takes, right? Like it's a grind.
Yeah, man.
People do it.
You retired in 17, I think I read.
Yeah, probably around there. I can't remember. I got enough concussions. I can't barely remember what I did last month, but yeah, around there.
And like, you know, quick YouTube search and whatever. I've heard you on podcasts before. It was for medical reasons for MS, right?
Yeah. So I was with Chicago for 9 years. And my last year I got traded from Chicago to Raleigh to North Carolina, the Hurricanes. And then, you know, a week or two in the season, went through training camp, everything seemed all right. Then I had some symptoms in my right shoulder, actually, and, you know, didn't think anything of it and just iced it, took some leave, and it would come and go, and didn't really think about it. And then it went to my hand, and again, didn't really think about it. I remember when I was in Jersey for a morning skate, and then it went down to my leg, and then I couldn't, you know, stop on my right foot. So I was like, oof, something's going on. Like with my shoulder, stick handling, you know, I wasn't a very skilled player to begin with. I was more of a dump and chase kind of guy, but, you know, I could still stick handle a puck and, you know, losing the puck a lot. And then I couldn't stop on my right leg. Then I was like, something's up. So I had to tell my training staff, and the way Jersey's doctors came over, they thought it was like vertigo or something to do with my ears or eyes or whatever it was. And then got an MRI, and then obviously found out the news that I got multiple sclerosis. And, you know, that was a big thing, life-changing experience. Obviously my game was, you know, it was in its peak in around 2015, and then, you know, it slowly dropped, and then it dropped really quick. And, you know, there was a lot of wondering what was wrong. Was it physically? Was it mentally? And then to find out the news was, you know, kind of revealing and nice, but then, you know, disappointing at the same time, because, you know, obviously I retired after that year. I took off probably about 5 months during the season to get my symptoms lined up. And, you know, I never took off 5 months of working out or exercising in my whole hockey career, though. So that was a big task to do. And then got it back on the ice and, you know, tried to play hockey again. You know, I can still play hockey, but I didn't think it was to the level where I could stay competitive in the league. And so, you know, I had 10 years underneath my belt with a playing pro and obviously winning a couple cups in Chicago really helped me decide that, I had a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old. So I was like, well, it was a good run. And, I was happy to do what I did when I did it. And, I wasn't chasing anything. I wasn't, anything like that. So it was a good decision to hang him up in a little earlier than I really thought. But, for a reason. And I think there's always a hockey life and there's always life after hockey. The hockey life was good, but, I got many more years to live and to enjoy it with my family.
Yeah. So, I mean, just from the outside looking in, it seems like you're managing it pretty well.
Yeah. I think,
yeah,
I think with my symptoms, there's different types of MS. I got the relapsing MS, which is, the better of the two. Then there's the progressive, which, slowly deteriorates your body, and, people are in wheelchairs and walkers and things like that. So I was unfortunate that I got the relapsing. And then I was happy to be where I was when I got diagnosed with the Hurricanes, because they had, great doctors. They had great schools with Duke and things like that, have a lot of research behind it. So, I got on a drug that I still take from day one, 6 or 7 years into it. And it kind of keeps me feeling normal. I know if I wasn't on anything, it would be a lot different. It kind of keeps me neutral and stable. And, there's good days and good months, and there's obviously bad ones and things like that. But overall, it's been pretty good. And just got to roll with the punches. The cards are dealt, and, you just got to move on and don't be so negative. I know a lot of people that I met with that get diagnosed, they kind of go down that little bit of rabbit hole, and why me, and why is this happening to me? And, I think having a positive attitude with this helped me through where I am now. And, but then really with anything in life, if you stay positive, you can, the mind is a very strong thing, and people don't understand that.
Yeah. Wow. So my dad's got MS. He got it when I was a kid. He's probably had it for 23 years. He's probably been in a wheelchair for like 15 years. And it kind of like, even when I was pretty young, he still explained it to me. He's like he's trying to explain like how the symptoms are. And pretty much at the beginning, he said it was like when your leg falls asleep, that's, it's like that all the time and gets better and worse. And then the positivity side came, and he said something. He was like, he said, I was still young. I still remember this. He was like, for the first little bit, I was wondering why me, because, same thing. They can never pick it off right away. It seems like, thought it was Lyme disease, thought it was this, that, and the other thing. He said for the first little bit, he was like, well, why me? And then he's like, well, why not me? And then just kind of moved forward from there. And, now he's part of the MS Society and everything like that, and is like one of the more positive people you'll meet. So, and I know that can, there can be can be the opposite of that too. So it's good to see you taking the positive outlook on it and rolling here. And here we are, anglers bitching about how hard the Opens are, and you have MS and retired from hockey, and are still competing in the Opens, no problem. So it's
and I didn't know that about your daddy, and obviously sorry to hear that, but you've been living it for a long time. And I think when I got diagnosed, the wife kind of helped me out a lot, and she always thought to turn a negative into a positive. Obviously, with the hockey career I had and how many people that I impact, but now you throw this in there, and now I'm reaching out to a different type of people and trying to help them appreciate it, and to stay positive, and to get better out of it. It's obviously it's a shitty disease, and it is what it is. You can't turn back and think, what if and this and that, but it's just the way it goes. You just got to live with it and not let it hold you down.
Yeah. like that silver lining outlook. So does that like keep you bit? Because I've always wondered when, you know, someone like yourself or Richie or Buff, like they don't, you know, they're retired at a young age, all in your 30s, and then like I've always wondered, because people sit back and say like, well, it must be nice, you know, you're retired and you got 30 or 40 years, and I'm like, well, you still need something to work toward, you know, and need something to like keep you rolling. For a lot of folks, it's family. For you, it sounds like you're kind of, do you do like any of the, like, I know you've got a foundation for pit bulls. I heard that on another podcast. Are you active like on the MS front too? I know you got your foundation rolling, you got kids, you got derbies going. It sounds like you got a lot on the go.
Yeah, it was. I think the first year was really tough on me and my family. I met my wife when I was 16 and junior out of Ottawa, and then, you know, for the whole time till I retired, you know, I was gone half the time. Like, I had practice and I would be on the road, and you know, and then we got moved into our house back home. We're like, oh my God, you're always around. And we had a couple issues and things like that, but we worked through it. And, you know, we're obviously still together and enjoy each other's company quite a bit. But the first year was tough because, you know, the only thing I ever really known was playing hockey. You know, I came from Canada, came from a small town, you know, wanted to play hockey. School was a part of it. I got through school to get me what I needed to get through school, but you know, I wasn't a book smart kind of guy. I was always outside playing hockey, and you know, that was any kid's dream playing in Canada. You want to play hockey, and I was very unfortunate to make a life and a career playing hockey. And then I'm like, after my retired, I'm like, now what do I do? Like, I don't really know much else. And then obviously the fishing thing kind of helps me, you know, when I play it kind of keeps me, you know, happy and relaxed, and kind of recharges the batteries in a way. But for the upcoming years, obviously, you were saying before, we do a rescue. We have a foundation in Chicago where we rescued a dog back in the day. It was probably 18 years ago, and it was a pit bull breed, a Staffordshire Terrier, which we call it. And we got to Chicago, and there's a big population of these dogs and kennels, and they were just misunderstood, and the owners are taking advantage of these dogs. So we started this foundation in Chicago to, you know, just build awareness about these dogs, because now we're on, we got 2 new ones. We rescued them about a couple years ago, and they're great dogs, and they're loyal, they're smart, and so we just kind of help minimize them. We do spade and neuters for free out in Chicago, and we work with a HESPA house on the south side of Chicago, which is for abused kids, and we kind of bring these therapy dogs in, which were rescued and such, and then we bring them to the kids, because these kids are, you know, scared of people, because, you know, they're sexually, mentally, a lot of abused kids are scared. And then we bring these dogs in that come from a similar situation. And these dogs and these kids are the same, but the kids open up. And I think that's a cool thing that we do in Chicago for these kids and for the dogs. But back home now, I'm back in Canada. They're still banned in Ontario, the breed. But then obviously the MS side, we're doing more stuff. I've always did a lot of charity things with other people and other foundations. We purchased a property up in just northern where we live here in Newcastle, Ontario, right before COVID. It's a great property. It's got 3 cottages, and so we're going to do a MS retreat for people that are really suffering. Like, you know, people, you can see me, just a normal guy. I can do all my daily stuff, but then it's obviously how you know it. You know, there's people that are getting assistance from their family, that are in wheelchairs, that need the family support. So we want to give these families the opportunity to not think about what they're going through, the daily tasks and daily life, to give them opportunity, because that was my big thing, that when I in the summers, I'd like to be on the water and enjoy, you know, outdoor stuff. So we're we're in the mix very soon to hopefully get this thing rolling. There's a lot of work still needs to be done. There's 3 cabins that's gonna give families wheelchairs, just to give away and spend time just away from home and spend time with their family. And I think we're going to start that up in the next year or 2.
Oh, that's great, man. Sounds like you guys are doing a lot. You got your hands full.
We're keeping busy. We've had a golf tournament for the last 10 years, then COVID hit and it's on the back burner, but I know we need to bring that back because all my buddies enjoy it. It's more of a good time and raise money, and then it's going to go towards our goal with this retreat. And I think a lot of people, and obviously Ontario is the biggest population in Canada for multiple sclerosis. So a lot of people can relate, and we're just trying to help families and make it fun for them for the time they have left and with their family.
Yeah. Well, let me know when that gets rolling, and I'll definitely do whatever I can on my end to spread it around or whatever. We'll figure something out there.
Yeah, for sure. I appreciate it.
The pit bull thing, I feel like that's a serious situation. I'm a dog lover. Can't hard to imagine even what those dogs have gone through, fighting wise and everything. I feel like a lot of it got almost desensitized from the Michael Vick thing, because lots of people it just seems like they might have made light of it a little bit after that, because there's lots of jokes and everything every time a dog gets in a tussle, but that's a real damn thing. So it's good to see someone also from the athlete world kind of sticking up for them on that end and having an adverse effect. Because
we took one out of a bad situation out of Ottawa, and we fell in love with the dog. The dogs are loyal, smart. They used to be the nanny dog back in the 40s or 50s that even with the dogs that we have now, they're only 2 years old, but they're amazing with kids. And we have a pool, and when they jump in the water, they bark because they obviously think something's going wrong, or they can't swim or things like that. They can swim, which is good. But they're always on the lookout, and they're always unbelievable with our kids. They're a loyal dog. I think it's very unfortunate that people take advantage of them, and it's any dog really. If you train a dog to be any way, you could they could do damage. I know the pit bull has a spotlight on them, and it's unfortunate. It's not the dog, it's the people that own them. It's like humans. If you train someone to be a dick, he's going to be a dick, and he's not going to be very happy to be around. But we're supporting them because they're a great dog. They're a loving dog, and I'm so happy to keep them in our family because they're a part of our family, and they're just a good dog.
Yeah, that's great, man. Well, we'll move off this and back to fishing. I want to get your thoughts on the open scene a little bit more. These were your first 3, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So traveling to these dumps, well, I shouldn't call them dumps. Watts Bar wasn't even that bad. I just chirp a lot just because we have such great fishing in Canada that it's like, I tell people all the time, you can catch more fish in an afternoon on Lake of the Woods than you can in a week on one of these southern lakes. Yeah. For the most part, that holds true. But when you got down, Bugs Island was your first one. You did well there. You beat 120. I think you got 96.
Yeah, I only weighed 4 fish the first day, which really bit me. And I all the water I found, good quality keepers, and I was like, okay, I'm excited. And that storm rolled in. My water was muddy, and I couldn't get a bite in that muddy water. And then I just went practicing, and then I got a bite, and then it kind of clicked in to where I can get bites and things like that. I caught a kicker in day 1. I had a 4+ pounder. So I was like, man, and then I ran and tried to get that 5th bite. And I was fishing down at the far end mostly. And I came back because there was a lot of wind blowing across the main channel. So I was like, okay, I got another area that I haven't seen or fished in a couple days, and it should be protected from the wind. And I wanted to give myself more time just to get back and not take a penalty or anything like that. And I didn't get a bite there, and I wish I stayed another extra half hour to find just another keeper, because the weights from 20th to 100th was probably like 5 pounds. Like, it was so tight.
Yeah.
And then day 2, I just went look. I didn't put down I went driving down the lake, and I just looked for points and bushes. If there's 3 bushes, 4 bushes, that's great. My co-angler hated me because I just flipped, 4 or 5 bushes, and I got up and did it again. And I felt bad in that way, because that was my first time I had a co-angler, because my day 1, I didn't have one, and I should have put more time down at the end of the lake where I had the time. But it is what it is. And, it was an experience and it's a learning, and, things like that. It kind of bites you, but it is what it is. I had fun.
When you looked at that lake, like when you first launched the boat, I don't know how many different, well, you fished in North Carolina, right?
Yeah.
Or wherever because you played it there. So you would have had, so you probably didn't get like the culture shock from looking at the lake. Like, what the hell?
No, like Raleigh is only like an hour and a half from there. And then they have 3 like really, really good, nice lakes. They're not big lakes, but they're kind of fish is similar. So it was kind of nice going into it, what to expect. You look at the map, and it all looks the same till you get there. And obviously fishing a shad spawn, and never fished a shad spawn before. And, with the morning light coming up, and I pulled up on one point one day, and I was like, look at this is unbelievable. They're just flickering everywhere, and every cast you catch one. I'm like, this is sweet. And then you had that bite for a window, then you had to go chase the other bite. And it was an experience. I had fun. It was nice, kind of had an idea of going into what to expect. Obviously Watts did not know what to expect. I think I fished deep and shallow, and I didn't really fish that mid-range where, everyone did well. And it's just a learning experience. And it was fun. I enjoyed it. It was the time in the water. I roomed with a couple of Canadians that are the young kids that are from down this area. So to listen to these guys.
You stayed with Danny?
I stayed with, no, not Danny. I stayed with Chong and Clark. They're from out here. Danny,
Okay.
Danny didn't fish the last one, and then he stayed with somebody, I think, on St. Lawrence with somebody else. I stayed with a guy that he was a co-angler. I've known him for years. So to stay with these guys, and then staying in the trucks for months and not showering for weeks, I'm like, what is going on? Like, these guys
that's
are
Ryan Clark?
Ryan Clark and Evan Chong.
Oh, okay. I've been calling him Kung. Evan Kung.
Chong, whatever. Yeah,
yeah. So those guys went hard at her. They just stayed down there like the whole year, I think, right?
Like for months. Like, it was unbelievable what they did. And they put they had their money in. They grinded it out, and obviously a couple tournaments here and there they did okay, but for them it was a learning experience, and they're still young and can do that. And I'm sure they're going to be doing it again next year. So experience on the water and different bodies of water where they haven't experienced, right? It goes a long way.
Yeah. Yeah. Sleeping in your truck is commitment. That sucks.
Yes, especially if you're in Alabama when it's like 110 degrees with no air conditioning. Like, just sweating to sleep. I can't imagine doing that. So I brought them in, and they had, places to stay, and they enjoyed that. So.
Yeah. Nice. I think, Evan did good late in the year, like in a Toyota tournament or something.
Yeah, he came 10th in that Table Rock, which was good for him.
Championship.
Yeah, I think he's doing that Florida, the team championship here coming up. So he's got support, and he's young. He's like, I don't even know, he's 23 years old. And like, geez, like, they're giving it a run and giving it a shot, and obviously seeing Corey and, Chris and Gus and see what they did. And, now Coop came in with a young age and put his head in the dirt and grinded and he's doing well. And it motivates a lot of young anglers around us because they see, obviously Danny's, close there behind to get going. But it just gives the guys motivation that, Canadians can fish too.
Yeah. Yeah. Cooper went so hard at it that everyone thinks that's normal to sleep in your truck every night and like eat dirt. Like he roughed her so much that kind of like set the standard. That's funny. That's kind of he made her in young and he made it in that method, sleeping in the truck, huge pre-practices, staying down there, like full commitment to it. Yeah.
Hats off to him.
Yeah, no kidding. He killed it this year too. He was the top finishing Canadian on the elites, which is wild. Like,
I know.
You talk to him on the way, and it's like, yeah, there's nothing that's going to stop this guy.
No, he's got the eye, and I think he's learning. Obviously, being from back home, you have strong suits, but he's starting to learn a lot more different ways to catch them. I think that's going to make him good. He's not just a bass net. He fishes a lot of different. Like he was just in somewhere warm with JP and them and catching sails and things like that. And he goes up to PC and catches big sturgeon. Obviously he lives near a couple good creeks that the steelhead come up, and he's a fish freak and he enjoys doing it. And he's young and he's got a lot of experience, and I think that's why he's being great. And I remember I bought a boat out of Alabama when I was in Chicago during that 08 like crisis down there, and I got it for dirt cheap. So then I got a new boat, and then Coop was working his way in as he did the first opens in that boat, and then I don't know how I had it for 5 or 6 years. It ran great, and then he gets down to Florida, and he blows the lower unit out. I'm like, what? Did you even put any oil in it? And I don't even understand how just all of a sudden he did it. But I cut him a deal on that to get his. I want to say help him get his career going, but he's doing great now, and hopefully the favorite comes back soon enough.
Yeah, I remember that. I was actually in Florida. I went down with Gussie that year just to go fish around, like a little pre-practice for the elites. And the open was going on. I had a buddy in it, Bryan, and he had made friends with Coop. And Coop blew his lower unit that first day, first open of the year, like perfect. And the next day, he just dropped his trolling motor right at takeoff. Like they called his number, stood up, dropped his troller, and he caught like 12 pounds. He had like a pretty damn good bag.
for what he did. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but that was back in those when you could fish. Well, you had to fish 3 to qualify, and it was like if you got a 90th or 110th, it was just automatically you were done.
Yeah.
So yeah, as much as I bitch about having to fish 9 to, well, I didn't bitch about it much, but everyone says, well, go back to 3, and it's like, well, you don't get to slip up at all. Like I wouldn't have had any year at all because I started with 104th or whatever, so it would have just been automatically out. That's it's a different. It's like jackpot fishing kind of.
Yeah,
for it.
I like how they went to 9 because the 3 was nice to the average Joe could stumble on something, then they get thrown into the wolves and they get their heads kicked in. I think it gets them kind of ready to compete with the big dogs and mentally, physically, financially. Like it's a big step, and I think it's good that they got to the 9 because it is hard, and the elites is even harder. So I think it's a good thing they did that way.
Yeah, the elites has a softer travel schedule, at least. That's the one difference, and they keep that as a carrot too, to like maybe a little more extra motivation. But if you look at the miles you got to drive, like they'll almost always go do like double features or 2 weeks apart or whatever.
Yeah.
Where the opens is just a different world of never-ending travel. I was doing my books the other day and kind of isolating my mileage, and I think this year was like 58,000 kilometers on my truck.
Yeah.
From doing all 9. So I was like, that's an insane, like, that's crazy distance. And then I typed in what's the circumference of Earth, and it's only 42,000 kilometers. So you literally drove around the world.
Yeah, I didn't know that. You learn something new every day.
Yeah, but if you go through that, once you do make the elites, at least you can put the driving part out of your mind a little tiny bit and focus on the fishing a little bit more. Because it's freaking murderers row. I can't wait to see what's going to happen with these new guys that had crazy finishes all year. I think there's a couple that are really going to catch them, and probably there's going to be some that falter and are going to have to worry about their careers in the next couple of years. It's a scary game because you only get 2 years, right?
Yeah, to put your name out there and keep it up there. And I know like this open field was, watching it with all those top 10, like it was fun to watch. Even though if I was in an event, I was, rooting obviously for you and for other guys to do well, and some old guys to come back to elites too. It would have been fun to watch with Bobby and things like that. And it's a grind, and everyone's only getting better with this new technology. And all these guys are talking about live scope, but it's the world. Everything's changing, and the old ducks are like, well, let's hit a tree line to that pole to that house and make a couple casts. And now it's a different game, and the old guys are not. They're getting their jobs taken, so it's tough on them.
Yeah. Did you see the same thing in hockey? Because Buff made a reference to it once. He was like, these young kids, he's like, they won't go out crush any beers with you. He's like, hockey's all they think about. It's on their mind the whole time. Was that kind of a similar thing to what you're seeing in fishing?
Yeah, for sure. I remember, I think it was our 2010 year where, we kind of brought the not go out drinking, kind of like treat your body like a temple and look after your body. Whatever you're going to put in your body is going to perform on the ice. And I think that was the big turning point, because we had obviously Taser. He was a force, and he was really healthy. And we had a couple other older guys that are, on their back end of the career, but then they're like, well, we need to get this right. Like if you go party and have a good time a couple of nights before the game, like that's not going to get out of you. The way you eat, the way you dress or drink, and the way you rest yourself, that's where you're going to perform. And I think now with the fishing world, we were talking about before, where everyone's starting to be more fit and more healthy, and it's going to perform in anything in life. If you don't get your sleep and your rest, and what you put in your body is what you're going to get out. So I think 2010 was a big year, because we used to, I think when the big thing about pressed juices, and we would have them like every 4 times a day, and we needed this to get our nutrients, and drinking beers and doing things like that. Obviously it feels good at the moment, but mentally too, but it's not going to help you in the long run.
Yeah. It seems like in every sport, everyone's always looking for a competitive edge, and the people coming into the sport already have that path identified, like what's good, what's bad, what you need to get good at, what you need to stop doing. And it seems like everyone just levels up every year more and more and more. The difference in the fishing world is a piece of technology is getting blamed for it, I'd say, and it's just an easy thing to lean on. Where I think if the scope were gone, the young guys would still be coming in regardless, and we were seeing, starting to drop that general age. Is the age in hockey, is that going down too, or is that always just kind of stable?
The age is definitely going down. There's only a couple guys, and maybe 20 guys or 35 plus that are still in the league. When I played, there was guys in the 40s like Yager and Chara and Joe Thornton. There's no 40-year-olds anymore. It's a faster game. The smartness is not as smart. The hockey's a little different, where it's just the run and gun and a lot of turnovers. I'm not saying there's systems, but the systems are there. But it's a different game. The physicality, obviously the fighting and things like that, where we grew up, and is definitely leaving the game. But you know, you look at it's not just sports; it's the world, the technology, the phones, the access to everything is for me. It kind of sucks because if I didn't have a phone, I'd be like, this is amazing. Like it's a bad habit, and it's just. I just saw a thing in Florida. They're banning phones out of schools in Florida, and now the schools, there's less bullying and there's less. People are starting to communicate more with each other. I'm like, this is what we grew up doing, and now, you know, the technology in the world is changing so much, and it's kind of hurting in a way. But it is what it is. You just gotta roll the punches.
Yeah, man. All right, bud. Well, I've held you for an hour here. Good to have you on. Good to chat definitely. With you. I wasn't sure if you were doing the Opens or not this year, so glad to hear you're taking a step out for the family. And like you said, it's even though young people are more dominant in fishing by the year, it still is one of the few sports where you can still compete, you know, at a high level into your late 30s. So kind of mid. You're like you said, it's always going to be there.
It's always going to be there. You know, my kids are only getting older, and they're only going to get less interest of the parents. So I got to capitalize on the time now. Fishing's always going to be there. You know, family time is something important to me. And you know, I did drag Buff in this year, and I told him this is the year you need to do it because, you know, the schedule worked out for him, and I really, really wanted to do it. But, you know, I gotta keep the family at home happy, and you know, it'll be another time. And now I get to do a couple more tournaments. I didn't really do many tournaments back home. To do these again and to have some fun and enjoy it, and hopefully enjoy the cottage. I didn't get much cottage time this year because it was gone and busy and things like that. So get this project running again so we can help a family. So.
All right, man. I hear that. Mm-hmm. Okay, bud. We'll leave you to it. We'll keep in touch, and good luck with everything you got on the go. Check out send me your stuff, and I'll drop her in the description for the pit bulls. And once the MS thing gets rolling, let me know about that too.
Oh, I appreciate it, man. Thanks for having me on.
Okay, pal. Good to chat with you. Talk to you soon.
You too. Take care.